Hi folks, Cam here. Been 2 weeks now, Paxil free, and I'm going to talk to you about how I did it. And just as a disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional, nor do I claim to have any special medical knowledge. So before stopping any medication, you need to consult with your healthcare professional before doing so. It's very important that I say that. Okay, started taking Paxil about 3 years ago while transitioning from the military into the civilian life. Life stressors going on, something to help with anxiety. So decided to get off of it. I tried 2 separate times, just cold turkey. The first time cold turkey was terrible. I got all kinds of side effects that were pretty bad, alarmingly bad. You get these weird brain shock feelings that kind of go through your body, kind of a they seem to be associated with turning my head and looking at things. Felt kind of claustrophobic. I just felt like I wasn't aligned with my body. I couldn't really control my speech very well. I would just ramble, worse than I'm doing now. And so I immediately got back on it, and the symptoms subsided the next day. So second time I did it, it was sort of on accident. I cut the pill in half. Well, my pills changed a little bit, and I got the dosage wrong, and I ended up taking a half. And I didn't realize I took a half until the next day. I started feeling the same symptoms, and just about as pronounced. I wouldn't say that it was half the symptoms. I'd say it was a little bit less, but they were there. And again, it was troubling. And when I went back and reread the bottle, I realized I had taken half of a dose, and I quickly got back on it. So then I realized, this is not going to be easy when I decided to quit. I started gaining weight a lot, and I was eating a lot more than I normally did. So I decided to get off. So I did some research and found that weaning is the safest way to do it. Several ways to wean. You can use liquids. There's ways to do it, such as going down 10% every month. But excuse me, I wish I could wean myself from these allergies. But the 10% every month to me seemed unrealistic, so I tried to push the envelope just a little bit. So what I did was I had 60 milligrams, a 60 milligram pill. And what I ended up doing was it was a 20 milligram pill, and I cut it by 1/8. And what I did is I cut it by 1/8 with a simple pill cutter. You can buy it at any Walmart or anything like that, Walgreens, drugstore, CVS. They're like $1.50. I cut it down to 1/8, and I would wait 7 to 10 days or so before cutting it down another 1/8. So I did get symptoms, but they're extremely mild and they're very manageable. It was almost sort of like just a little bit of a nuisance, but it wasn't as debilitating as going cold turkey like I did before. So I cut down to 1/8 of a pill, which is cut the pill in half, you cut that half in half, and then you go half again, and that's 1/8. So it would take about 5 days for the symptoms to kind of lift, but I would always wait no more or no less than 5 days. And then usually by 7 days, the symptoms had pretty much subsided and had stabilized. So I did that all the way down to my final 1/8 with next to no problems. But for some reason, that final little 1/8, when I took it away after 7 days, I did get a little bit of the symptoms. I think that was just because my body had 0 Paxil going in the system, and it was dealing with it. So that final, I would say 3 to 4 days of getting off of, when I finally got onto 0 Paxil, coming off of my final 1/8 of the pill, I did have a little bit of the symptoms, a little worse than the other times. Again, it only lasted 3 or 4 days, and I ended up feeling great afterwards. I feel great now. It's been 2 weeks. I feel just fine. I almost feel like how I felt when I was taking Paxil. So it can be done. You just have to be very careful about it. Don't go cold turkey. I highly recommend you don't do that. It's terrible. And don't cut in half. That's terrible too. You really need to wean it. You need to wean yourself down on it. So again, I'm just telling you my experience. I'm not really telling you how to do it. I'm really saying how I did it. So again, talk to your medical care professional. I did mine, and I got the 10% advice rule closely monitored and everything else. But I just didn't have time for that. So I've already lost about 6 pounds without even having to change anything I'm doing. So it really does. It made me gain weight. So I'm really happy to say it. Paxil free. Took a little doing, but it can be done with minimal side effects. Thanks for listening.